and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. I was in a store the other day and I got myself another little noisemaker. It was only $1 and I brought him in to show you. He's a giraffe, a long-necked giraffe, of course, they all are, and he has a cute little face. And the only way to make noise, and this is not going to be powerful noise, it's not going to blow you away, but all I have to do is tip him up and down and he will make noise because there's air in this tube. Remember I said you have to have air moving in a tube. There's air in this tube, and when I move it, it will move. And then there's like a little whistle in the inside, and the whistle goes back and forth as you put him up and down. So here he is, and I'm going to make noise with him. Get it? When he goes back down, he doesn't make quite as much noise as when you tip him up, but I'm going to do it again. That's it. That's the whole thing. As I say, he only cost me $1, but he's worth $1 because he's cute and I like him, and it gives me another thing to show. There's just so much variety in music and so many varieties in different types of instruments and noisemakers that I can't help but be fascinated by all of this. Now, I am going to show you notes and how to play them today and fingering charts and all of that, because I'm going to start off by playing a song that I wrote. I've been thinking about this song. It's on my mind a lot. I finally wrote it down, and so we'll start off with this piece of music, and then from that we're going to go to the charts, and I'm going to show you fingerings, because I really have been saying I was going to do that for quite a while. So this is a waltz, and it's written in 3/4 time. I don't have it on for you to see it because I have other things instead. 3/4 times, and it's 1 sharp, and this is how it goes. And that's the whole thing right there. Now, that's been running through my head. And when I write music, I hear the whole thing. I don't hear parts of it and then wonder what I'm going to do for a bridge or anything like that. I hear the whole thing and I write it down. And so this, I'm going to, maybe next segment, dissect it for you, do it in different types of styles and add notes to it and kind of dress it up a bit. But I want just to start off with a piece. This is a waltz, 3/4 time. Now, let me get to some charts, which is what I really want to start out with here. I want you to take a look at this, and I'm going to show you several of them. I want you to see the range of notes. Take a look at all of these notes. The lowest one is over here. I'll pull this off a little bit. Okay. This is the treble clef. I've got this chart written in treble and bass clef. This is the treble clef with a sign for the treble clef. This is the bass clef with a sign for the bass clef. This is the lowest of the notes down here, and you know it's got ledger lines, so you know it's really below the staff. Anything above and below the staff has ledger lines, and so you run through here. These are all bass notes, and then you get to this note here. This is a middle C. It's both a bass note and a treble note. This is a treble clef on top and the bass clef on the bottom. That's the way it's normally written. And so you have your middle C right here. Middle C is C to both clefs. It's C to the upper clef, it's C to the lower clef. It is middle C. Now, on a woodwind instrument, that's going to be called the low C because most instruments that are woodwinds cannot get below it. So it would be the lowest note for most of the woodwinds. And you'll see that it has 2 flags on it. With this flag, it belongs to the bass clef. With this flag, it belongs to the treble clef, but it's a note for both, and it's halfway between the bass and the treble clef. So it's going to start the treble clefs, which are going to go all the way up here to this high C. This is, and I'm going to move this a little so you can see the whole thing. get that moved. Okay, so you notice all the ledger lines here. Now, everything here, from here on, is treble clef. Everything here and to the left is going to be bass clef. And for the C instruments, this C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, here's another C right there. It's kind of like a mid-level C. And then you have another C right here. This is going to be high C. This is as high as the recorders can get. And then you get this C here, which is C above high C. That's what it's called, C above high C. The flutes can do it. There is another octave above that, but you can't really write it in. The recorders and the flutes can't play it. The pianos can. And what they do is they don't write it in with line upon line upon line, because all of these ledger lines, if you had so many of them, you would not be able to read the music. It would be just too much. So they use the sign 8VA. That 8VA means play it an octave above what it's been written, because you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ledger lines for the C. If you wanted to go another octave, you'd have 10 ledger lines. How do you read something like that? So you don't, and this is the way that they mark it. So this is a range without the sharps and flats. This chart would be a lot more difficult to look at if I had the sharps and flats. These are just the plain notes by themselves. So let me take this down. Remember, I'm showing you the ranges of where instruments can get. Here's a full-size keyboard. It's a chart which is a full-size keyboard. That's good right there. And of course the keys are very small, but that's the only way I could get them in. You have, for a full-size piano, 88 keys, 52 white keys, and 36 black keys. And here is your middle C right here. I've done it in orange. I've done it in color. It's toward the middle of the keyboard, not exactly in the middle, but close. It's a little bit to the left of the middle, and all of this is your bass clef from that point on, and all of this is your treble clef. Now here's one C, this is the middle C. Here's your another C, it's kind of your mid-range C. This is your high C right here. And then here is the C above high C, and this would be just what the piano can do and other instruments can't, because it's just so high. But this is the way it is. And if I point this out, and I've got a little staff underneath here, this is the middle C, which is the same as this, and it's low C for the woodwinds. Here's your mid-range C, which is right here. I put this B in there simply because I wanted you to see that the B has one ledger line. It's actually one note above the A, but that's the only way I could put it in. So here's the A. The B has a ledger line right underneath it. The A has a ledger line right straight through it. Now here's your C right here, your high C, and there's a ledger line beneath it and a ledger line through it. So when you get up to the high notes, you've got ledger lines below it and through it, and that's the way that it goes. And then you have your C above high C, and this is all ledger lines, and then this other octave, which only the piano can reach. But this shows you exactly how long the piano is. The piano is a very long instrument. It has a lot of keys on it, and 88 keys. And of course, the keyboards that you get, the little electronic keyboards, sometimes do an octave or two, but they don't get the whole thing. So here's another chart. And in this chart, I am showing, let's see, let's take it over here. I am showing all of the notes that the recorder can get, with the exception of two. I've left two out because they're hard to play and they're very high pitched. But other than that, I've got all of the notes that the recorder can play, including the sharps and the flats. So you start down here with your low C. Oops, let me just get it here. With your real low C, and then you go C, D, E, F, your F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B, C, C sharp, D, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. And then I go from the A back down, because the only two notes are missing are the B and C above this A, but we're not going to be tackling them for a while. So A flat, G, F, E, D, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, F, E, D, and C. So you get the whole range pretty much of what the recorder can do. And that's a lot of notes. If I were to split it up, and I did split it up so that I would have two lines, it's a little easier to read. Your low into your low C going up with the sharps and the flats to the A, and then I put the A on top of that going back down. You'll go up in sharps and you'll go down in flats. And the reason for that is that when you sharp a note, you play it 1/2 step above what the regular note is. And if you play the flat, you play it 1/2 step below what the regular note is. So if I should take my recorders here and say I want to play a G sharp, that's a G. That's the G sharp. Well, what if I want to play the A and the A flat? Here's the A, and I play the A flat. That A flat is the same note as the G sharp. It's an entonic note because it's the same note. But if you write it as if it's a sharp, you land on that note. If you write it as if it's a flat from the note above it, you still land on that note. We've gone into that a little, and I may repeat that as time goes on. So you have these notes. Let me put this down and put up another chart here. I brought some of the instruments with me because I want to show you what their ranges are. So here's another. This is a full-size piano. This is a full-size piano, and it starts with the lowest note, which is below C, by the way. You have two notes below a C. When you have a full-size piano, it goes lower than C. This is a C, but it goes to B and it goes to A. So those are the lowest notes right there. And here's your middle C right here, and here's the next C is here. Well, between these, this is an octave, middle C or low C, and this is the octave. What instruments play in that range? There are some woodwinds that play only in that range, and I brought some of them with me. The flutophone only plays in that range. The only way I can get this higher C, there's a full octave. The flute can do that. The flutophone can do that, but it can't do any more than that. Then you have your song flute, which can't do any more than that. Its range is a little different, but it's a one-octave instrument. I didn't bring the tonette with me, but the tonette is similar to that. Now, when you get to some of the ocarinas, I brought a little ocarina with me. They're a nice little instrument. They come in different sizes. This is a little one, but I have some that are smaller. I do have some that are a little bit bigger, but not a lot bigger. But that has a full octave range, and that's the thing is, you have your labium and your mouthpiece right here, and then you have your thumb holes right there, and then you go through the scale by using these 4 little tone holes right there. I'm not going to go through the whole thing for you, but I'll just play it a little so you can see what it's like. You use different fingerings to get the different notes, but I just wanted to see what it sounds like. And it's on the same principle as the recorder, but it is smaller, and it will only do 1 octave. They do have beautiful ones. They do have large ones that are expensive and beautiful. I just wanted to bring this so you could see it. Okay, so back to the chart here. You get those, the ocarinas, sometimes the melodicas, the tonettes, and of course the recorders can do this easily. Now the second octave up is going to be right here. So you go from C to C 1 octave, and the second C is right here. This is your second octave. Quite a few instruments can play in this range. Your flutes, your recorders, your penny whistles, and here is one penny whistle. I just brought it with me. So you can see that's a 2 octave range that it has. So this is a penny whistle. They come in different sizes and different keys. This here is a sweet tone. It's a type of penny whistle. It is conical in that it comes to a point. It has the same type of tone. It's a 2 octave range. Most of the other melody flutes like this, when I brought this orange one, it only is going to have a 1 octave range. I take that back. I think I can get 2 octaves out of it. And it does do 2 octaves. This is a Pro piper, that's the reason. The Pro pipers can do a lot better than some of the other ones, and they're inexpensive, and they play in the key of E flat, believe it or not. I've actually done solos on this one. Then you get the melodicas, and you can get a 2 octave range. There's 2 octave range on this melodica. It's a Hona, made in Germany. It's a very nice one. I have more than one of these, but this is the easiest one to carry. And it is a 2 octave range. If you're to look at it, here's your C right here. This would be like the mid-range C. This would be like the lowest C that you can get. And this is the highest C that you can get. But it is definitely a 2 octave instrument. So you can see there's quite a number of instruments that actually can play in that 2 octave range. The flutes go another octave. The regular flutes go another octave. And this is the octave here where only the pianos can go. It's too high for anything else. And if you look at all of these notes here, here's your middle C right here, and it goes all the way up to the highest that the flute can go, and it goes almost all the way down. The saxophones can get to about this range here. The clarinets can get to about this range here. This would be the bass clef on the second staff, and then it goes down low. The C will be the middle note. It's the same note for both staffs, upper and lower, and C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. You know, and then I go down another octave with that. So, and C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and you end up here. So there's a lot of range of notes that you can get, and different instruments will play in different ranges. And the woodwinds, of course, I'm focusing on the woodwinds because that's what I do. Brass I'm not so familiar with. Here's another chart. Whoops. Get it on so it'll stay. There, if we can pick that, good, that's great. Now, this is a full-length keyboard, and your recorders, and I do some of the fingerings here. The recorders start at this middle C, a low C, go into a mid-range C, go into high C. Recorders do that much. The flutes can take this on, and then, of course, this last octave up here would be only for the piano. But this gives you a good sense of what the woodwinds can do from that low C, which is lowest for most of them, and then the highest C, which is okay for the flute. But I want to have you see the full range. And what I did was I put in the fingerings. This would be a low C fingerings. All of the tone hole closed, including the thumb hole, which would be this little round area right here. The mid-range C is this is the only note played for the C. If it's a mid-range C, all of the other tone holes are open, and the thumb hole is also closed. Then you get the high C, which is as high as the recorder is going to go, and you get a half hole. The thumb hole is going to be half holed, only half closed, and you have that top tone hole closed, and you have two on the left hand that are closed. And so that's how you play your high C. There's a little different fingering there. So that gives you kind of the range of the instruments. I want to see, when I'm teaching students, it doesn't matter what instrument I'm teaching them, what I want them to see is where the notes are. Well, how do the notes relate to each other? Why is this C higher than that C? They sound the same, but they sound different because higher or lower pitch. How does that fit together into the entire picture of what music is and how many notes there really are and how you play those different notes? Most of the time when a student takes lessons, they know how to play, they're taught how to play, and they see the music on the staff and they play the music, they learn how to do that. But how do they know how this fits in the broad picture of what music is and all the notes that are available to all of the instruments? It's good to have students actually play in orchestras because they get a chance to see the other kinds of instruments that play, how they play, what their ranges are, how they sound different, how some of them have a much more deeper bass than what the others do, and they get to have a much more well-rounded situation. Now here is, I'm watching my time, here's all of the notes that the recorder can play without the sharps and the flats. And and I have all of the fingerings below it as to what they are, the main fingerings for the instruments. But I don't have time to really go into this, so next time I'm going to go into individual fingerings, and I may get to, if I have time, I may go back to this chart and go into it, because it's a good way to look at what the fingerings are in a broad perspective. So I'll close it here. Please join me next time.